They'll never forget the morning when a patient of mine, an 82-year-old grandmother named Helena, leaned across my desk and whispered something that stopped me in my tracks. She said, "Doctor, I think I've found the reason I feel younger now than I did at 70. I smiled, half expecting her to credit some miracle supplement or a secret workout routine. But what she described next was so small, so ordinary, that it sounded almost silly at first. Yet when I dug into the research, I realized it wasn't silly at all. In fact, it might be one of the most overlooked longevity secrets I've ever come across in my career. You see, most of us believe that big changes, strict diets, expensive treatments, or grueling exercise plans are what extend our lives. And yes, they matter. But what Helena reminded me of that morning was something much more humble. Something she did quietly, without effort, every single morning. And what stunned me even more was this: countless seniors across the world, without even realizing it, are already doing this tiny habit. And they're living longer, healthier lives because of it. I want you to picture this: early morning sunlight drifting through the curtains, the sound of birds outside, and a simple routine, done in those first fragile moments after waking, that sets the tone not just for the day but for the years ahead. It might not look powerful from the outside, but inside the body, it's sparking a chain reaction that affects blood pressure, brain function, and even the risk of diseases we fear most as we age. When I first started noticing this connection, I thought it was coincidence, but after years of patient stories, reviewing data, and seeing transformations up close, I knew it wasn't. There's science here, hard, convincing science. And once I explain it, you'll understand why skipping this habit could quietly rob you of precious years, and why adopting it could give them back. Because here's the truth: aging isn't only about wrinkles or stiff joints. It's about energy, clarity, and independence. It's about whether you'll be able to laugh with your grandchildren, travel, or simply get out of bed without pain. And this small morning ritual, done faithfully, gives seniors a surprising advantage. It supports circulation. It boosts resilience. It even strengthens the body's natural defenses in ways modern medicine can't fully replicate. But I'll warn you now, most people overlook it because it feels too easy. We're trained to think solutions must be complicated. Yet sometimes, the simplest changes hold the deepest power. So today, I want to walk you through the science, the dangers of ignoring this habit, and the hope it offers if you embrace it. It'll share the exact steps Helena takes every morning. It'll reveal the subtle signs your body gives when it desperately needs this ritual. And it'll show you how a 2-minute decision at sunrise might change the course of your entire health journey. What I'm about to share may surprise you. It may even frustrate you, because you'll wonder why no one told you sooner. But once you hear it, you'll never look at your mornings the same way again. So what is this tiny morning habit? And why does it have such a profound impact on the health and longevity of seniors? When Helena first described her ritual, I admit, I smiled politely and thought, this can't possibly explain the way she glows with energy. But as she explained, I began to realize that the secret wasn't in some exotic herb or expensive therapy. It was in something she had been doing almost unconsciously since she was a child. Every morning, before breakfast, before television, before anything else, she drank a tall glass of water, and she stepped outside to breathe the morning air. Now, you might be tempted to shrug that off. Water and a little fresh air? That sounds too ordinary to matter. But here's the hidden truth. After a night of sleep, your body is in a mild state of dehydration. Blood thickens slightly, circulation slows, and even your brain cells are thirstier than you realize. For seniors, this state is dangerous. Dehydration, even mild, increases the risk of heart attacks and strokes in the morning hours. That's why we see so many emergencies happen between 6 and 10 a.m. It's not just bad luck, it's physiology. And the air, that first deep breath in the crisp morning, is just refreshing. It signals to your nervous system that a new cycle has begun. Light hitting the eyes, oxygen flooding the lungs, and movement in the chest tell the brain, wake up, reset the clock. This realigns your circadian rhythm, your body's natural timer that regulates hormones, sleep, digestion, even immune defenses. Seniors who neglect this reset often struggle with fatigue, insomnia, or cloudy memory. Those who honor it, They tend to sleep deeper, digest better, and feel more alive. I remember one gentleman, a retired teacher named Walter, who came to me exhausted, complaining of senior brain fog. He worried he was slipping into dementia. But when I reviewed his daily routine, one thing stood out. He rolled straight from bed to coffee, skipped water, and stayed indoors until noon. I asked him to try Helena's ritual for 2 weeks, just 2. When he returned, he looked like a different man. His words, "Doctor, I feel like I've come back online." Now here's where it gets even more fascinating. Hydrating first thing doesn't just reawaken your body. It kickstarts metabolism, flushes out toxins that built up overnight, and primes the digestive system for food. Combined with morning light and air, it lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that, in excess, speeds up aging. Together, these two acts form a kind of reset button for seniors, a natural anti-aging medicine that requires no prescription. Yet, let me warn you, ignoring this simple step has consequences. I've seen seniors faint because their blood pressure dropped suddenly in the morning. I've seen confusion worsen in those who skip hydration. And perhaps most heartbreaking of all, I've seen families lose loved ones to preventable morning heart attacks. The difference between risk and resilience can truly come down to these first few minutes of the day. And here's the part that made me lean forward in my chair when I discovered it. The Japanese, who enjoy some of the longest lifespans in the world, have long practiced this habit. In fact, morning water therapy is considered a cultural health ritual there. They believe it purifies the body and extends life, and modern science is finally catching up to prove they may be right. But hydration and air are just the beginning. There's another layer to this morning secret, something hidden in plain sight that most seniors completely overlook. It involves a subtle action that not only sharpens the brain, but also strengthens the heart. And when I uncovered this second piece of the ritual, I realized why Helena seemed years younger than her peers. The second piece of Helena's ritual revealed itself one morning when I visited her home. She insisted I join her at sunrise, claiming, "You need to see it, not just hear about it." I'll admit, part of me thought it would be a waste of time. But when I arrived, I was stunned. After drinking her glass of water and stepping outside, she didn't rush into chores or switch on the TV. Instead, she walked slowly, barefoot, across the small patch of grass in her backyard. At first glance, it looked almost childlike, an elderly woman shuffling gently on the lawn. But there was a serenity in her face, a calmness in her movements. And as she explained, she wasn't just walking. She was practicing a mindful morning ritual, grounding, also known as earthing. Now, I know how this sounds. If someone had told me years ago that standing barefoot on the ground could affect longevity, I might have dismissed it as wishful thinking. But science has been catching up, and what it reveals is extraordinary. When your skin makes direct contact with the earth, grass, soil, or sand, you're exposed to subtle electrical charges from the planet itself. These electrons act like antioxidants, neutralizing harmful free radicals in the body. And free radicals, as you may know, are one of the leading drivers of inflammation, aging, and chronic disease. What shocked me even more was how effective this simple act can be in reducing morning stiffness and joint pain, something nearly every senior struggles with. By walking barefoot for just a few minutes, Helena was not only reconnecting with nature, but also soothing the very inflammation that makes aging feel so heavy. She told me, "It's my pain medicine without pills." And she wasn't exaggerating. Studies show grounding can lower blood pressure, reduce stress hormones, and even improve sleep quality. For seniors battling restless nights, just 10 minutes of barefoot contact with the earth in the morning can set their body's rhythm into harmony again. But here's the twist: it wasn't just the grounding itself. It was the mindfulness she paired with it. Helena wasn't scrolling through her phone or thinking about her to-do list. She focused on her breath. She whispered small prayers of gratitude. She noticed the birds, the cool dew on her toes, the way the air smelled different at dawn. This, I realized, was the second layer of her secret: a pause, a stillness, a refusal to let the chaos of the world dictate the very first moments of her day. For her, those 10 minutes were sacred, and her body responded with lower stress, clearer focus, and what I can only describe as a glow of vitality. Contrast this with what I see so often in my office. Seniors jolting awake to alarm clocks, immediately switching on the news, flooding their nervous system with worry before their bodies have even caught up. Or they skip breakfast, rush through pills with coffee, and wonder why their hearts race, why they feel unsettled, why fatigue lingers. That pattern accelerates aging. It wears down the nervous system like sandpaper. But what if instead you gave your mornings back to yourself? What if those first few minutes became medicine, hydrating, breathing, grounding, centering? I've seen lives transformed by this shift. I've seen blood pressure normalize, anxiety fade, and energy return. And it's not just anecdotal. The science backs it. Seniors who practice mindful morning rituals consistently live longer, healthier, more independent lives. Yet, even as powerful as hydration, light, and grounding are, there's still one more hidden danger lurking in the mornings. One that silently undermines health if you're not aware of it. And unless it's addressed, this danger can erase the very benefits these rituals provide. When I first uncovered it, I realized it was the missing piece, the reason some seniors thrive while others continue to decline, even with good habits. I noticed this missing piece when I compared to patients with nearly identical routines. Both drank water first thing. Both got outside in the morning. Both even practiced a form of mindfulness. Yet one patient thrived while the other still struggled with fatigue, blood pressure spikes, and poor digestion. The difference, as I discovered, was hidden in plain sight, what they did or didn't do with food in those crucial morning hours. Here's something most people don't realize. The body's sensitivity to certain foods is at its peak in the morning. After fasting overnight, your blood sugar system is fragile, your digestive enzymes are low, and your hormones are in transition. Feed your body the wrong thing in this delicate window, and you set off a chain reaction that can sabotage your entire day and your long-term health. I can't tell you how many times I've seen seniors roll straight from bed to coffee and sweet pastries. The quick rush feels comforting, but the reality is brutal. Caffeine spikes cortisol, sugar spikes insulin, and together they create a storm inside aging blood vessels. For some, that storm leads to headaches. For others, tremors, dizziness, or sudden fatigue. But over years, it does something more insidious. It accelerates arterial damage, weakens the brain, and increases the risk of dementia. One man I cared for, Robert, swore his daily Danish and coffee were harmless. Doctor, I've been doing it for 30 years. But what he didn't see was the way his morning blood sugar roller coaster was quietly eating away at his memory and nerve health. His afternoons were foggy, his balance shaky. When we adjusted his breakfast routine, swapping the sugar for protein and healthy fats, the change was astounding. Within weeks, he told me, it's like someone lifted the curtain in my head. And this is just anecdotal. Studies consistently show that seniors who eat a balanced, low-sugar breakfast not only live longer, but maintain independence longer. Their risk of falls drops. Their risk of diabetes complications falls. Even their moods stabilize. Morning choices are magnified in older bodies. What you eat at 7 a.m. echoes until bedtime. Here's the real danger. Many seniors think skipping breakfast altogether is safer. If I don't eat, I can't mess it up, they reason. But skipping often backfires. Without fuel, blood sugar plummets, causing dizziness, weakness, and poor coordination. That's when falls happen. That's when accidents happen. I've seen too many seniors hospitalized simply because they skipped food at the wrong time. So what should mornings look like instead? The secret isn't complicated. Think clean protein, gentle fiber, hydration, and light. A small omelet with vegetables. A bowl of oats with nuts and berries. Even a smoothie with greens, protein powder, and water. Simple choices that calm blood sugar instead of whipping it into chaos. And here's where it ties back to Helena's ritual. After her water, after her grounding, she always ate a modest but nourishing breakfast. She told me, it's not about filling my stomach, doctor. It's about telling my body I'm ready for the day. That small act gave her stable energy and resilience her peers often lacked. But let me share the part that unsettled me most. While food can be a healer in the morning, it can also be the silent thief of longevity. There's one specific category of foods that nearly every senior should avoid at breakfast, yet they remain the most marketed and consumed. And the damage they cause goes far beyond blood sugar. They accelerate inflammation, weaken the gut, and speed up brain decline. When I saw just how deeply this danger was woven into our culture, I realized it wasn't enough to quietly advise patients one by one. It needed to be exposed. And once you hear what these foods are, you'll understand why avoiding them could be the single most powerful change you ever make. The foods I'm talking about are the ones we've been trained, almost brainwashed, to believe belong on every breakfast table. Brightly colored cereal boxes, instant oatmeal packets filled with sugar, white toast slathered with jam, even so-called healthy breakfast bars that are little more than candy in disguise. It's heartbreaking, really. Seniors are told these foods are convenient, wholesome, even heart-healthy. But in reality, they're a cocktail of refined grains, added sugars, and chemical preservatives. And the body of a 70 or 80-year-old does not forgive these assaults the way a teenager's might. Each bite triggers inflammation. Each morning, arteries stiffen just a little more. Each day, the brain loses a touch of clarity. It doesn't happen overnight, but year after year, the damage compounds. I remember a woman named Margaret who came to me with crushing fatigue. She was sharp, witty, and fiercely independent, but she couldn't shake the constant fog. Her mornings started with heart-healthy cereal and orange juice. Her doctors told her it was fine. But when we dug into her labs, the truth emerged. Her blood sugar was spiking dangerously each morning, only to crash by mid-morning, leaving her drained. Her cholesterol was climbing, not falling, and her inflammation markers were sky-high. We changed one thing, breakfast. Out went the cereal and juice. In came eggs, sauteed spinach, and a sprinkle of olive oil. Within a month, her energy returned. Within 3, her labs improved. And one afternoon, she laughed in my office and said, "Doctor, I finally feel like I'm living my age, not 20 years older." Here's the deeper danger. These breakfast staples don't just drain energy. They erode independence. Seniors who start their mornings on sugar swings are more likely to lose balance, more likely to struggle with memory, more likely to face the cascade of conditions we fear most: diabetes, dementia, and cardiovascular disease. I've seen too many families blindsided, wondering how decline came on so quickly, when in reality it was death by 1,000 small cuts, starting every morning at the table. And here's the part that shocked me. The marketing around these foods is relentless, and many seniors believe they're making the right choices. Low-fat yogurts loaded with sugar, margarine instead of butter, instant oatmeal claiming to be high fiber when it's packed with additives that inflame the gut. It's not their fault. The system is stacked against them. But knowledge is power, and once you know, you can change. So what's the alternative? Think simple, whole, unprocessed. A handful of nuts with Greek yogurt, a slice of whole grain bread with avocado, a boiled egg, and a piece of fruit. Nothing fancy, nothing extreme. Just food your grandparents' generation would recognize as real. This kind of breakfast stabilizes blood sugar, reduces inflammation, and fuels the body for the day ahead. It sets the stage for longevity. Helena understood this instinctively. She once told me, "Doctor, if my breakfast comes out of a box, I put it back." She laughed as she said it, but she was right. And the more I studied seniors, who thrived well into their 90s, the more I saw this pattern. Their mornings weren't filled with processed convenience foods. They were built on simple, nourishing traditions. But there's still one more layer to the morning secret that most people miss. Even if you hydrate, breathe fresh air, ground yourself, and eat wisely, you could still be sabotaging your health if you ignore this final piece. It's not about food. It's not about movement. It's about a force far more subtle one that shapes your mood, your immune system, and even your lifespan. I didn't fully grasp its power until I sat with a widower in his 70s who seemed to be fading faster. Then his medical charts explained. And when I uncovered the role this missing piece played, I realized it might be the most important morning habit of all. When I met Frank, a widower in his 70s, his medical records looked surprisingly stable. His blood pressure was under control, his cholesterol wasn't alarming, and yet his health was slipping. He was pale, frail, and seemed to be aging in fast forward. As we spoke, I noticed something that went beyond lab results. His mornings were empty. He told me, "Doctor, I wake up, sit in silence, drink my coffee, and wait for the day to pass." That emptiness was the missing piece. Not hydration, not food, not even sunlight could replace it. What Frank was lacking was connection. The simple, yet profound act of starting the day with human warmth, a conversation, a laugh, even a phone call. We underestimate this far too often. Loneliness, especially in seniors, is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It weakens the immune system, raises stress hormones, and accelerates cognitive decline. And mornings are the most vulnerable time, when the body and mind are just waking up, seeking cues of safety and belonging. Without those cues, the body slips into subtle distress. Day after day, it compounds into disease. I've seen this play out countless times. Seniors who live alone and start the day in silence often struggle with fatigue, depression, and declining health. Those who start with connection, even a short call to a friend, a hug from a spouse, or a brief chat with a neighbor, seem to carry an invisible shield. Their moods lift, their energy holds, and their health outcomes improve dramatically. Helena knew this too. After her water, her grounding, her nourishing breakfast, she always made a point to check in with someone. Sometimes it was her sister, sometimes her neighbor, sometimes a grandchild. "It makes the day worth living," she told me. Science confirms what her heart already knew. Social interaction in the morning boosts oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which lowers stress and strengthens the heart. It also primes the brain for sharper thinking throughout the day. Frank was skeptical when I suggested this. "Doctor, what good is talking to someone going to do for my health?" But I asked him to try. Just one phone call each morning, to anyone he cared about. Within weeks, I watched the color return to his cheeks. He started laughing more in our appointments. His sleep improved, his appetite improved. Even his blood markers improved. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was living. That's the true secret of these morning rituals. They're not about perfection. They're about creating a foundation: hydration, light, nourishment, connection that tells your body and mind, "I am safe. I am cared for. I am alive." When you do that consistently, your body responds by healing, by protecting itself, by extending the very span of your years. But I need to leave you with one last warning. Because as powerful as these habits are, there's still a silent trap waiting for seniors every morning. A trap that steals energy, damages health, and shortens lives, no matter how well you hydrate or eat. Most people don't even realize they're walking into it, and by the time they do, it may already have taken years off their life. It has nothing to do with food or drink, nothing to do with loneliness. It's hidden in the way we start our day in the modern world. And if you don't guard against it, all the other morning rituals may not be enough. That trap is waiting for us on a glowing screen. The very first thing so many of us do before water, before air, before even looking out the window is reach for a phone, a tablet, or the television remote. I've seen it over and over in my patients. The day begins not with stillness, not with nourishment, but with an onslaught of headlines, emails, and notifications. For seniors especially, this habit is devastating. Here's why. The morning brain is uniquely sensitive. Levels of cortisol are already high, nature's way of nudging us awake. Add in breaking news, financial worries, or the endless scroll of social media, and you don't just wake up. You jolt your nervous system into overdrive. Heart rate climbs, blood pressure spikes, inflammation ignites. For someone in their 70s or 80s, that spike can be dangerous, sometimes fatal. I once had a patient, George, who prided himself on being up to date the moment he woke up. He kept a television in his bedroom and turned it on the second his eyes opened. Within minutes, his chest tightened, his pulse raced, and his mornings were clouded with anxiety. He didn't realize the connection until we experimented with a change. For 2 weeks, he kept the TV off. He replaced those first 15 minutes with water, a short walk outside, and a call to his daughter. The difference? His blood pressure readings dropped. His mood lifted. He even started sleeping better at night. And this is just about stress. Blue light from screens early in the morning confuses the body's circadian rhythm. making it harder to fall asleep at night. It disrupts melatonin, the hormone of rest, and keeps the brain on edge. Over time, that means poorer memory, weaker immunity, and faster aging. The saddest part is how invisible this trap is. Many seniors think, "I'm just checking the news," or "I just want to see what my grandchildren posted." But what they don't see is the way it robs them of the healing power of a calm, intentional morning. The ritual of health is replaced by a ritual of stress, and the body pays the price. This is why I tell every patient, guard the first 30 minutes of your morning like treasure. Protect it from screens. Fill it instead with what nourishes you: light, air, water, food, connection. Let your body wake naturally before the world rushes in. Those first 30 minutes set the rhythm for the entire day. And if you win the morning, you win your health. Helena does this beautifully. Her phone stays on the counter until after breakfast. She smiles when she tells me, if the world needs me before then, it can wait. And at 82, thriving, independent, and full of joy, she is living proof that the world does. In fact, wait while her health flourishes. So let me bring this together. The tiny morning habit that extends senior lifespans is one action. It's the rhythm of intentional choices. Hydrate deeply, breathe the morning air, ground yourself in stillness, nourish your body with real food, connect with someone you love, and protect those first precious minutes from screens. These are small acts, but together they form a shield. A shield against disease, decline, and despair. I've watched patients transform their lives with this. I've seen depression lift, pain ease, memory sharpen, and energy return. And the truth is, it doesn't take money, or prescriptions, or complex plans. It takes a decision, a choice to honor your mornings as sacred. Because in the end, longevity isn't built on grand gestures. It's built on the quiet rituals you repeat every day. And the morning, more than any other time, holds the power to change your future. So tomorrow, when you wake, remember Helena, remember Frank, remember George, and ask yourself, will I let the world steal my morning, or will I claim it for my health, my joy, and my life? Your health is your greatest wealth, and it starts today.